What's good, nerds? It's Denny.
This is James from TeaDB. We did not die from that 1940s Luval tea, although we did have some seizures. Just kidding. So we are back for another episode. This tea, unfortunately, is 50 years younger than the last tea, which actually still makes it pretty old. Yeah. Supposedly from 1993. So this is actually a pretty interesting story. I was recently traveling in a non-tea related trip, pretty much totally to Thailand and Japan, and I happened to post about going to a tea house in Japan, and someone messaged me from this company TeaSide, so I ended up meeting up with Valeri is his name. He's Russian, who runs a business that does a lot of wholesale of Thai teas in Thailand. So it's a lot of Thai teas, but they're produced like Chinese style teas, and they're actually made by Chinese immigrants and their descendants in Thailand. So this one was particularly interesting to me because it was harvested in Thailand. It's in Chiang Rai, so that's in northern Thailand, and as you get sort of into northern Thailand, you're getting closer and closer to Burma and to Yunnan too. And it was also stored in Thailand. So interesting in both of those things. So yeah, so I tried this tea with him, and I'm looking forward to trying it with Denny and seeing what he thinks.
Cool. And I'm just doing a quick rinse here. Unless you think we should drink this. This looks pretty clean.
Let's rinse it.
Yeah, but quick rinse. Smells great. It smells like an old Pu'erh, honestly. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing notable about this tea that could tell that from the smell of it makes me think Thailand.
Yeah.
Versus any other place.
Right. And the tea is loose. This is not part of a cake. And brewing a really clear red, as we can see. And I should also clarify it's a raw, not a ripe.
And it has really has that sort of aged vegetal.
Yeah. Woody.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of caramel kind of vibes in there too.
But as Denny said, it looks pretty plain.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. The leaves are good leaf integrity. There's not a ton of broken leaves, as I've noted in previous sections.
Cool. Let's give it a shot. This is going to be a little bit hot. Actually, let's hang out for a second and let that cool off, and I'll keep going here. And in terms of the leaf, you actually weighed this out.
Yeah, James. So we are using about 6.5 grams for a 95 milliliter clay pot. Pretty standard for me. As you can see, the pot pours a little bit slowly, so for a tea like this, that's fine. Right. Yeah, and we have a toothpick here, just in case it does get stuck.
TeaTech.com.
Yeah, you can buy our special TeaTech, specifically designed for the Yixing pot. Only $57 for a pack of 5.
Yeah. For a subscription of 5. Over the course of 12 months.
Yeah, we'll give you 1 per month.
It has a really, really wonderful aroma, and I really just genuinely cannot smell any difference between this and a typical kind of older raw Pu'erh. So
yeah, I think it has some similarities into how Hong Kong stored Pu'erh would smell. Yeah,
for sure. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's got a good like thickness and texture out the gate. It's a little bit light to start, obviously.
Yeah, it's very smooth, very easy to drink. It sort of fits that sort of woody profile. I think quite clean considering the age.
Yeah, and maybe folks don't know, so Thailand, Hong Kong, these regions tend to be quite hot, quite humid.
Right. And actually, Chiang Rai is interesting. The northern part of Thailand is a little bit away from the mountainous, exactly. It's in the mountains. It's a little bit away from bodies of water, so it's a little bit drier than we'd expect something like Hong Kong to be. But for me, I think this storage actually fits pretty closely with Hong Kong. So I think you're right on about that.
It has a really just a slight sweet fruit nose to it in the cup, or teapot in this case.
Yeah.
Here we go, second steeping.
In a tea like this, you want to push it pretty hard. Denny is, of course, using boiling water for this, and that's also why you can use a pot that might be a little bit slower to pour. If it takes a little extra long, it's fine.
And that's a function more of its age, right?
Yeah, it's age, it's storage. In this case, like obviously it's been stored with some humidity, right. So it tastes like an aged tea.
Yeah. So for folks out there, a good heuristic is just the older, the kind of harsher you can push the tea in some sense. Right. Not necessarily, but it's just kind of a general rule.
Right. And for a reference, you could watch the previous episode where we really pushed that very old tea for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
It's like a really lively sort of aroma from it that's a little bit higher, like a little fruitier than I would expect.
Yeah, totally. It's really smooth and silky, and just like a pleasant sort of physical experience. I say, yeah, they're just like kind of hints at some of those higher notes, but it definitely fits in that woody profile, maybe a little bit of like some leather vibes going on.
I agree with that.
It's really sort of moved past that intense gasoline-y petroleum hump that characterizes a lot of young raw pu'erhs.
Right. I would also say this is not on the thickest side for these sorts of teas. It's not as thick and oily as some of those teas can get, and I don't know, maybe that indicates that it's a little bit more dryly stored than sort of Hong Kong stored teas, some of them.
It's nice. It has like a nice residual mouthfeel, beautiful color. I'm not tasting the fruitiness quite as much as I'm smelling it. Let me get back in here so you can get the leaves too. It's actually a fair amount of variety of the color of the leaves. You can see in there. It's kind of hard to get the light in there purposely, but
yeah, you can see some of them are lightening up a little bit. You guys ever want to know a great way to burn your nose hairs off? You just pour hot water into these things and just like immediately.
So painful. I continuously do that too. It's almost, you think that you'd like, after doing enough, like, you know, umpteen hundred sessions of tea, you'd figure out not to, it's like a little funnel straight into like a,
yeah, it's usually these two. It's like Gaiwans, you're a little bit safer.
It's harder with the Gaiwan.
Yeah, harder, yeah.
But this is the
one of those
perfect,
things that's like a little bit too true for tea people.
I'm going to heat up this water a little bit while we sip, and you know, we're hoping that even though this tea has been sitting for a while and slowly kind of moistening and getting a little bit more potent even in between sessions, we're really going to try to push this one for steeping. So this is the third one. Cool. To just see what this is made of. So, but let's get in here.
Cheers. I was going to ask you, Denny, so this is a raw tea, and I think a lot of our audience may not have had like a raw pu'erh that brews this color. What are some differences between this and like a ripe?
So in terms of the color, there's not much. It'd be hard to recognize the difference between this and a ripe pu'erh from the color itself. I think that ripes tend to have a little bit of a different flavor profile. They don't taste usually quite as earthy.
Right.
So I think one of the biggest differences is going to be more of that sort of vegetal, green stem earthiness, mineraliness that some of these can have. There's also a little bit of a spiciness to this.
Yeah.
I find that ripe pu'erhs tend to be a little bit more in the vanilla, creamy, oatmeal-y vibe, more of a cherry thing, and then more tree bark as opposed to maybe like dry leaves.
Right.
Not that you're hanging out and licking dry leaves all the time like I am.
And I think ripes tend to also be a little bit softer as well, like texturally and stuff. Like this is soft, but it's not as soft as like a ripe would be.
Yeah. There's a little bit more going on in these. I mean, to be honest with you,
a little more active.
Yeah, as much as I do like a ripe pu'erh, these are more interesting, and they do demand a little bit more attention. But yeah, it's nice. it's funny. I think if you didn't like that taste of the sort of like pencil shaving, tomato patch kind of vibes, it might not be at all for you. I don't know if this will pass the mom test, frankly.
Whereas, do you think like a ripe could pass the mom test?
More likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, this has more of like, I don't know, raw. I mean, when you get tea this old, it tends to have sort of like its own natural aging characteristics, and those can be an acquired taste for some, and some will immediately take to it.
Yeah, definitely.
See, watch his technique right here.
You gotta start low and slow down here.
You don't want to go like straight in, yeah.
It does have a really wonderful. So how would you characterize this in terms of cooling versus warming?
Pretty warming, I'd say. The energy is not like wake up and go energy. It's more, I don't know. I can't say am feeling like super affected by the tea yet, but you know, a little bit calming on the calming side of things.
Yeah, it's more of a cozy sort of a vibe. Yeah, definitely. I think this is wonderful. So I couldn't have told you at all that this wasn't from the mainland at all. Like, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's not
evident to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like maybe someone with more experience could tell.
Sure.
But I think this tastes like a proper pu'erh.
Yeah. Exactly. In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's smooth. It's got a wonderful mouthfeel. It's lively. There's enough punch in it that it's really it's interesting.
And I think it's pretty clearly a raw pu'erh too.
Definitely.
Just from the activeness and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our forced steeping. We're gonna give this one had a little bit more heat, and we'll just give it a shot.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. I think it's been almost maybe lost a little bit of the thickness of the tea, getting a little bit. Just those deep, earthy flavors are wonderful.
Yeah, very earthy, woody. I feel like it's changed each infusion, but it's not like a dramatic change. It's sort of a slow, subtle change.
Yeah, there's no really pronounced, obvious atypical flavors in this. I think it's just like a well-balanced, delicious, a little bit spicy.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of like a Malbec, if I were to make a wine comparison. It's got a little bit of that sort of earthy spiciness to it.
Right. It's not as sweet as you would get from like a ripe, maybe.
Yeah, definitely not. Quite delicious. Thanks for bringing this on.
Yeah.
And cool to, who's the person who?
Yeah, thank you to Valeri.
That's right.
Which
a Russian friend.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you could definitely check those Valeri out at t-side.com. I think he does a lot of wholesale as well as just selling to consumers in Russia and as well as to the rest of the West.
Yeah, Russia is a big, huge tea community out there. Surprised when I was in Eastern Europe that tea was a thing.
Yeah, no, it's huge.
Yeah, surprising and wonderful. So thanks to Valeri. Check us out on TeaDB.org if you want more content like this. Subscribe, tell your mom to subscribe, text your mom, tell her you love her.
And maybe a preview for the future. Valeri also gave us a bunch more teas, including some Oriental Beauty made in Thailand.
Interesting.
Which is interesting because of the bugs, of course.
Yeah.
And dong ding. So we might be bringing some stuff on in the near future. So
cool.
Stay tuned, guys.
All right, we'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers.